We stick to a certain way of reading, quietly, respectfully. We let the words come in, we underline a line we like, maybe we pause for a moment and then we move on. But sometimes a sentence doesn't let you move on, it catches you. Not because it's beautifully written, but because it feels a little too accurate. You read it once, then again, and something in you reacts. Not fully formed, it's something you can explain right away, but there's a response. And usually that's where it ends. You carry the line with you for a while, maybe even think about it later, but you don't do anything with it. What if you did? What if reading wasn't just taking something in, but also answering back? Not necessarily publicly, not in a way that needs to be shared, just on a page that belongs to you. Because when a sentence stays with you, it's rarely about the sentence itself, it's about what it touches and how you react. Something in your own experience, something you felt but never quite put into words. And if you leave it there, it remains incomplete. But if you write in response to it, something will probably shift. You're no longer just reading someone else's understanding of the world, you're placing your own next to it. You might agree with it, you might resist it, you might not even fully understand why it stayed with you in the first place. That's fine. You can start exactly there. I read this line and I don't know why it bothered me. Or start with, this feels true, but I can't explain it yet. And then you stay with that. At first, it might feel like you're just reacting, but if you continue, it becomes something else. You begin to see where your thoughts align and where they don't. You notice what you accept easily and what creates friction, and that friction is important because it tells you where something deeper is sitting. Most of the time, we read passively. We absorb, we agree, we move on. But when you start writing in response, reading becomes a conversation. Not between you and the author exactly, but between what they've written and what already exists inside you. And that's where something real begins. You're no longer just collecting ideas, you're engaging with them, testing them against your own thoughts, your own experiences, and your journal becomes the place where that interaction happens. It's not polished, it's not structured, it's real and authentic. If you think about it, some of the most important thoughts you've had didn't come out of nowhere. They were responses to something you read, something you heard, something that made you pause for a second, longer than usual. So maybe the question isn't, what should I write about today? Instead, ask yourself, what is something I read recently that stayed with me and why? You never have to give perfect answers. You just have to take a blank page, write the line at the top of it you remember, and describe it in your own words, and then respond. Agree with it, question it, push back if you need to. Let your thoughts move freely around it, because the goal isn't to understand the text better, it's to understand yourself in relation to it. And once you start doing this, reading feels different, slower, and more personal. Like you're not just passing through someone else's words, but allowing them to meet you halfway. And your journal becomes more than a place where you write, it becomes a place where you think with what you read. One page is enough for that. Sometimes, one honest response is all it takes to turn reading into something that stays with you much longer than the book itself.